That Dubois guy, though, holy shit, man. The way he took out Anthony Joshua.
I know.
Yeah. Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now?
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass.
Said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the
they're
haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Well, they're like, what about now?
Yeah.
They're like, what about fight him
now.
now? He's like, no, I want to wait till 2026. Like, okay.
To put on weight?
Put all the steroids, every steroid they have.
I would watch.
Snake
Here's
venom,
the thing. I would
scorpion
watch
venom.
it.
Jake Paul's suggestion of a fight with Anthony Joshua has been criticized by Joe Rogan, who called it absurd. He further fueled their continuing feud by accusing Paul of using steroids. Meanwhile, Nakisa Badarian, Paul's promotional partner, indicated that Paul's team is open to high-profile fights, including against Joshua, aiming to test the limits of what's possible in boxing. While talking about the things Jake Paul had told him, Nakisa said, "Jake's feedback to me was, I want to do that fight versus Joshua." While commenting on this certain matter, he added, "Not now, but I want to do that fight. To be a world champion at cruiserweight, he wants to do that." While commenting on the bout and what it can be about, he also revealed, "The other is to test the limits of expectations, test the limits of what's possible." Furthermore, while talking about the recent fight of his client with the legendary boxer, he added, "This event with Mike Tyson that tested the limits of what was possible for the world to see, and him fighting Anthony Joshua or Daniel Dubois is kind of the same thing." He concluded his discussion by revealing the certain matter which the industry thinks is the main cause of the fight. Commenting on the money matter of the bout, he said, "It isn't about the money. He's made lots of money since he was 18 years old. It's really about disruption." As we delve into the matter that has drawn certain reactions from the industry, Jake Paul has recently set his sights on former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, expressing confidence in his ability to defeat him. In a candid statement, Paul remarked heavily and shared his thoughts on why he wants to face his friend Anthony. While talking more, Jake has expressed strong belief in his ability to defeat Joshua, citing perceived weaknesses in the British heavyweight's fighting style.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua, exclusive, because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will
got knocked out, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends.
Even though they get along well, Paul is keen to challenge the former two-time heavyweight champion. The call-out has caused fans and commentators to debate whether or not such a fight is realistic. Numerous experts note that Paul may have significant challenges due to Joshua's greater size, strength, and work experience. After switching from YouTube to boxing, Jake Paul has steadily become better, but he hasn't yet faced a top heavyweight. His bravado is seen by some as more of a publicity stunt than a real challenge. In any case, the audacious approach has maintained Paul's prominence in the boxing world and fueled discussion regarding the viability of such a fight.
And he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All shit, but I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
As talks continue, the possibility of a Paul-Joshua fight underscores how boxing is changing and how unorthodox matchups are pushing the sport's boundaries. In response to Jake Paul's challenge, Anthony Joshua has acknowledged the call-out while maintaining a somewhat ambiguous attitude, displaying a mixture of curiosity and humor. Following Paul's audacious assertion that he could defeat Joshua while disparaging his abilities and chin, Joshua posted a screenshot of a phone conversation with Paul on social media. His use of a shushing emoji as the caption for the post 2026 implied a possible future fight without explicitly expressing his interest. Although Joshua hasn't completely rejected the challenge, his response indicates that he views the call-out as more of a joke than a real danger. The possibility that Paul, who has mostly faced MMA fighters and smaller boxers, could actually face a former heavyweight champion is still questioned by fans and experts. Although a 2026 fight is still hypothetical, Joshua's remark has undoubtedly kept the discussion rolling. Sharing his opinion on this certain matter, Joe Rogan has also strongly criticized Jake Paul's call-out of former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, questioning the legitimacy of the challenge and suggesting ulterior motives behind Paul's proposed 2026 timeline. On a recent episode of the JRE Fight Companion, Rogan reacted to Paul's ambition, expressing doubt about his ability to step into the ring with someone of Joshua's caliber. He found it strange that Paul wanted to wait until 2026 rather than fighting sooner, and speculated that the delay could be a strategy to enhance his physicality. Rogan said, "Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now, so he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026. Well, like, what about fighting him now?" He's like, "No, I want to wait till 2026. I think he put on all the steroids. While we go deep into this analysis, Rogan's comments add to the growing skepticism in the boxing community about Paul's high-profile calls. Many believe Paul, who has primarily fought MMA fighters and smaller opponents, is out of his depth in challenging an elite heavyweight like Joshua. While Paul remains confident in his ability to take on top-tier fighters, Rogan and others argue that his inexperience and significant size disadvantage would make such a fight unrealistic. While Paul has yet to respond directly to Rogan's accusations, the YouTuber-turned-boxer has often brushed off the criticism, claiming that he is serious about his boxing career and proving doubters wrong. Whether the fight ever happens remains to be seen, but Rogan's blunt remarks have certainly fueled the debate. Hearn also responded to Jake Paul's call-out of Anthony Joshua, dismissing it as entertainment rather than a serious challenge. He acknowledged that Paul is good for boxing promotion, but doesn't believe he stands a chance against Joshua. Hearn mentioned that Joshua would entertain the idea for the banter, but not as a legitimate fight. He emphasized the vast skill gap between the two fighters. Despite Paul's confidence, Hearn made it clear that Joshua is on a completely different level.
This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you.
Hearn advised Jake Paul to act now instead of waiting until 2026 if he truly wants to fight Anthony Joshua. He emphasized the huge gap in experience and skill between them. Hearn made it clear that Joshua would be heavily favored in the matchup. He suggested that Paul's chances are extremely slim against a seasoned fighter like Joshua. The fight, in Hearn's view, is more of a promotional stunt than a real challenge.
You know, the only thing that was disappointing was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, you know, LA Olympics for the surfing 2028, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage.
Even though Jake Paul is confident in his ability to take on Anthony Joshua, Hearn finds the challenge more amusing than realistic. He sees the idea of Paul fighting a former heavyweight champion as highly unlikely. Hearn jokingly suggested that Paul would need the relevant insurance if the fight were to happen. This comment highlighted the significant danger Paul would face against a fighter of Joshua's caliber. Hearn's comments reinforced his belief that the matchup is more of a spectacle than a genuine contest.
And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance.
Moving on, Amir has expressed strong concerns about the prospect of Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua. In a recent discussion with fellow former world champion Froch, Khan described the potential matchup as a mismatch. He further elaborated that such a fight could deter Paul from boxing permanently, suggesting it will be the end of his YouTube career. Froch echoed these sentiments, warning that it might be the end of his life, highlighting the significant risk Paul would face against a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua.
Wow. I mean, I think what a mismatch that is.
Yeah, I agree.
Joshua would kill him. I mean,
do you think he will just
Jake
hammer him?
Paul,
I think AJ's way too big, and he throws a good 1-2 down the pipe, and if he lands that right hand on fake Paul's chin, it's fucking game over, surely.
Jake Paul will never look at boxing again.
No, it'll be the end.
I mean, he'll never want to fight again. That'll be the end of even his YouTube career, in my opinion.
This discussion arose after Jake Paul publicly called out Anthony Joshua, asserting he could defeat the former heavyweight champion. It's worth noting that Jake Paul recently secured a controversial win against 58-year-old Mike Tyson, a bout criticized due to the significant age gap between the fighters.
Why they're all chasing these boxers? I mean, I don't think Mike Tyson should have ever taken that fight against Jake Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's now got a massive one over, even though Mike Tyson was in his 60s, but still he beat like a legend in the sport, you know what I mean? So really, Mike should never have done that, but I think they're making a mockery of boxing.
Mams Taylor, manager of YouTuber-turned-boxer KSI, has already criticized the idea of Jake Paul fighting heavyweight boxers like Anthony Joshua. He questioned the intentions of Paul's promotional team, suggesting that such matchups could lead to Paul getting seriously hurt, and implied that financial motives might be prioritized over Paul's well-being. He said, "So either he's really delusional, or he only gives us about the money." He further added, "But once Jake has that fight, maybe he'll come back down to earth and have a real talk whoever it's with on that level." Moreover, Taylor commented on the ongoing debate about Jake Paul facing elite boxers like Anthony Joshua or Canelo Alvarez. He emphasized the significant challenges and risks involved in crossover boxing matches. The discussion stems from Paul's ambition to fight top-tier professional athletes despite his influencer background. Taylor's remarks reflect concerns about the skill gap between influencers and seasoned boxers. The conversation highlights the growing trend of influencers entering professional boxing and its implications. Moreover, boxing trainer Dave Caldwell has also strongly dismissed the idea of a fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, calling Paul's challenge He made it clear that Joshua, a former heavyweight champion, would have no trouble dispatching Paul in the ring. According to Caldwell, the fight is not even worth considering as a serious competition due to the vast difference in skill and experience.
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua.
Oh my God. Listen, the guy's good at what he does. He gets everybody, including us, talking about it. That's what we're doing. He's very, very good at self-PR, but he don't have to talk some shit.
Furthermore, the American was mocked on social media after his bold claim, with former boxer Caldwell saying AJ would snap his neck with a jab. DAZN broadcaster Ado Ladpio added, 10 seconds is all it would take for AJ to win. Caldwell also emphasized that if the fight were to happen, Joshua would knock Jake Paul out unconscious without much effort. He even humorously suggested that Paul's head will get literally decapitated against someone of Joshua's caliber. His comments highlight the sheer gap between a seasoned elite boxer like Joshua and a celebrity-turned boxer like Paul. He indirectly predicted Anthony Joshua as the winner of the potential bout.
And he's not going to put himself in that position. He would run. Also, he'll be running around the ring it'd just be a bad spectacle until AJ catches up on him and smashes him to bits. So he wouldn't put himself, with his profile and his name and what he's doing, it's one of those where he's bluffing. It's not happening.
While Caldwell acknowledged that Jake Paul brings attention and entertainment value to the sport, he remains adamant that this matchup is not credible. Despite Paul's growing presence in boxing, Caldwell does not see him as a legitimate challenger to someone of Joshua's pedigree. In his view, a fight between them would be nothing more than a mismatch with an inevitable outcome. A potential boxing match between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua would be a significant crossover event, blending mainstream entertainment with professional boxing. A bout like that would probably garner a lot of international attention and bring spectators who aren't only boxing fanatics. By increasing pay-per-view sales, sponsorships, and item sales, this crossover appeal may raise boxing event income and establish new financial standards. Joshua's willingness to fight has been confirmed by promoter Hearn, who has pointed out that Joshua would take on anyone and that a bout of this nature would draw a sizable audience. Paul would be competing at a far higher level if he faced Anthony Joshua. Even if he loses, a solid performance could boost his reputation in the boxing world and lead to other prestigious bouts. A lopsided defeat, on the other hand, could support complaints about his position in professional boxing. Taking on Jake Paul might be viewed as a profitable but low-risk venture that would provide Anthony Joshua with significant cash gains with little risk to his boxing reputation. On the other hand, some detractors would contend that a fight like this takes away from heavier weight bouts that are more competitive. Joshua has also indicated interest in taking on Tyson Fury, whom many believe would be a more respectable and historic match. In conclusion, although a contest between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua would result in substantial financial gain and public attention, it also calls into question the ethics of competition and the future of professional boxing.